to you and welcome to Adelante Chicago. I'm Lourdes Duarte. Thank you so much for joining us today. Bienvenidos. Let's begin with a program that's been re-energized, you could say. They want you to know about it. CEDA, which stands for Community and Economic Development Association, now has the funding to help with your energy bills. We're trying to let the public know about this, and that's why they're here. So joining us is Latoya Butler with a little bit more on this program. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
This is exciting. So
Yes.
let's talk first. What is CEDA?
CEDA is an organization that helps residents of Cook County go towards self-sufficiency. We have several different programs that we offer within the organization. I'm here today representing the Energy Services Department, or most people know it as we have the Utility Assistance Grant that helps all of Cook County residents.
Right. And so what has happened, and we've all been dealing with this, doing stories about it, with the state budget impasse, a lot of these organizations have been hurt, and you were one of them.
Yes.
So what happened?
So last year, due to the state budget impasse, we were not sure if we were going to receive funding. We have two streams of funding. One is federal and one is state funding. So unfortunately, due to that, we had to, because we were unsure, we had to lay off a bunch of our staff, and a lot of people thought CEDA was closed. And it wasn't closed, we were just suspended. It was temporary. We were given our federal funding, it came through, and then just this past December, we were also giving our state funding. So there's funds to help our low-income residents with their utility bills. And the program is ending soon, so we want people to know about it and to come out and apply so they can get the assistance they need.
So these are dollars that you thought you were not going to get because of the state budget impasse. So my understanding is that because you're also eligible for these federal funds, that came through and that allowed you to sort of get the program, kickstart the program once again.
Back in October.
And so what has happened is that people thought you were closed, as you mentioned, and never applied for this funding. So now you've got all these dollars that are sort of on standby and just laying around, you could say, and you want to spend them.
Yes, absolutely.
So what do people need to know if they want to apply now? Because as you said, the program's about to end.
Yes. So if someone wants to apply, they should first call our 1-800 number, our hotline, which is 1-800-571-CEDA or 2332. They can be pre-screened, they can be told the eligibility criteria, and if it's determined that they are eligible, they'll be sent to the nearest partner site. We have over 100 intake sites around Cook County, city and suburbs, where they can apply for the assistance. So they should just call, find out the nearest site, and go and apply. I encourage everyone who hasn't applied to apply, but that's the key though. If they've already applied for the assistance this program year, which runs October through May, they're not eligible because you're only going to receive the assistance once, with a slight caveat to that. If they've become disconnected or in jeopardy of being disconnected, they could be eligible for additional assistance. I know it gets confusing, so that's why I would just suggest if they're not sure, call, and the customer service representatives can check their status and to see if they're currently eligible. And in addition to that, we have some other smaller grants that are funded through the utility companies, ComEd and People's Gas. So if they're not eligible for the LIHEAP program, they could be eligible for a People's Gas Share the Warmth Matching grant, or either a ComEd Special Residential Hardship grant that helps folks who are past due on their bill.
And you said that there are some other eligibility or other requirements that people have to fulfill. What are those?
So there is a income eligibility. So you have to be a low income resident, and it's based on the amount of income in your house and the number of people in your household. And outside of that, for LIHEAP, and as long as you have a utility bill, which we all have, you're eligible for the assistance. There's also a cash portion to the grant, meaning that if your utilities are included in your rent and your income is a certain portion of your rent, you could be eligible for cash assistance. And the thought behind that is your utilities are included in your rent. You're paying your rent, so we'll give you some cash to help pay towards your rent, because essentially it's paying for your utilities. So what we don't want people to do is to assume they're not eligible, or I'm not sure, I've never done that before. Call the 800 number, and someone, we have 19 people answering calls. Someone there can walk you through it and determine if you're eligible and send you to the closest site.
You know, talk a little bit about just the difficulty that this has created for so many minority communities, the whole issue with what's happening in Springfield and what's happening for organizations like yours that are trying to help some of these minority communities. So how are people getting by, right?
They're not. You know, we're finding that they're not. Even with this program, it's a one-time assistance, but even with that, our clients depend on it because it helps them get through the winter months, or what we call the disconnection season, which typically starts April 1st when the moratorium is over and the utilities can disconnect them. This helps them kind of over a hump. until they're eligible again. Not having the program available last year, and in addition to that, dropping people from a special program.
We're talking about thousands of people that got dropped.
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
And when I say 30,000 households, that doesn't count the number of people. That's a household. A household could have one person in it or
Back
8.
to 6,
Yeah. So, you know, when we think about it, if their utilities are not on, it impacts the kids. You know, kids need to get up, they need to take a warm bath or shower, they need to be able to eat before they go to school, they need to be able to do their homework. If they can't turn on the computers, do their homework. So it has a bigger impact than a lot of people think. This funding is so important. And I know there's still a lot of people out there who need the assistance. So I want them to know that this funding is still there. Come on in, because after May 31st, we cannot take any more. That's the deadline. We cannot take any additional applications. And although we don't have an exact start date yet from the state, tentatively the program will not start back until September. But even with that, there are priority periods. The first month, it's only going to be seniors and disabled. In October, it will be households with children under the age of 6. And the general public won't be able to apply until November. So that's a long time if they don't get it. I think
there's got to be this fear within these nonprofit, smaller organizations that this budget impasse may continue, and what happens in the years to come. Yeah.
We're actually not sure yet what's going to happen in our the new fiscal year starts July 1, so we're waiting.
We're wishing you the best of luck.
Yes.
Let's get the information up on the screen for people that are interested, that think they can get some help from CEDA. There it is, 800-571-CEDA. That's 571-2332. CEDAorg.net is the website to go to for more information. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck.
Thank you.
All right, next on Adelante Chicago.